But yeah, going into 5, I think we've talked about it in the lead up that we're like, there could be something here with the tech, and that's a way to approach toys and technology and kids and everything. So we have the whole crew back, and the lily pad, voiced by Greta Lee, comes in. Bonnie starts playing with that. She just wants to go sit on her iPad and play with her friends, or play with her friends while they're just all sitting in a circle on their phones, which, you know, we've all done that at somebody's house where you like sit around with 6 people and you're on your phone and you haven't talked in like 20 minutes. You're like, oh fuck,
playing Temple Run.
Yeah, we should probably do something, go outside or watch a movie or anything else than this. But yeah, to start off, I mean, I think this movie is good, and it's always kind of interesting with Pixar because there's sort of the Pixar curve, I feel like, where they have such a high standard and came out just swinging out of the gates, and compared to really any other animated movies, like even the lesser Pixar movies are still like pretty comparable to those. But as far as like Pixar and Toy Story franchise in general, this one was a little bit disappointing. This one to me didn't feel like it justified its own existence, even with that technology plot. And I just think it like introduced the idea of like tech is bad, and Jessie, who is kind of the main character in this movie, which I actually enjoy. Like, I'm glad she kind of gets the spotlight a little bit. You know, she's kind of the leader of that. Like, all right, we need to get rid of this lily pad. We need to make her play with toys again. And they bring it up. I'm like, okay, what else are you going to do with it? And it doesn't. They don't really dive into it. Like, there's nothing much more that they say about that specifically.
Yeah, and it, like I said, with the other films, you kind of have like an actual antagonist or a villain, and I feel like that all gets saddled on Lilypad by Greta Lee, voiced by Greta Lee, and it doesn't like stand tall enough as like an actual antagonist to the story, because pretty early on in this film they recognize like, oh well, this Lilypad, this technology is trying to help Bonnie connect with other kids, because she's still like, maybe she's behind, she's still playing with toys, which like I remember like having that internal thought as a kid of like, when do I stop playing with toys? Like, why do my brothers still play with toys? I'm like 9 years old and I still play with toys. So when does that happen? When do I stop having these? And then you get a phone and you just kind of move off of it. And I think that is a good jumping off point for the story. But the Lilypad pretty quickly realizes that, oh, hey, I put Bonnie in with the wrong crowd. Like, people that didn't actually, like, care about hanging out with her. Like, they played hide and seek and they didn't come and find her. Now she's devastated by that because she's struggling to connect, and now the door's getting shut on her even more. So I feel like there's too much of a quick realization that, like, oh, we can't only rely on tech. And, it, like, the through line throughout the story of, like, the balance of tech and toys and, like, how kids play, it didn't feel like anything super original. Like, I could have guessed a lot, like, the plot threads of where this was going most of the way, and it wasn't anything, like, super surprising. Granted, this is a kid's movie, but, like, the Toy Story films are all really well written to me, and they're handled pretty well, and the stories are pretty well done. I do like that this is a Jessie story, and it does coincide and follow up a lot of what is presented in Toy Story 2, at least, of Jessie and losing Emily and her life past that, and then finding Andy. I really like that development, and I think that there are some good moments in that, and I think, similar to you, I was kind of let down by this film. I was really excited for it, but it was just like, okay, similar to what you said, it didn't really justify its existence past that plot, and the plot kind of falls to the background, and it's like, all right, are we doing like a Jessie reconnecting with her past story, or are we doing Bonnie with the toys? And it didn't really feel like it clicked. And then not only that, it felt like a side quest. Like, this entire movie felt like a side quest. It didn't feel like this is a Toy Story film that handles the conflict for all the toys. Half of the main toys are stuck in a laundry basket in Bonnie's family's garage. Like, we don't get a lot with them. We don't
Slink out of there, man.
Get Slink, get Rex. Like, Rex maybe has 3 lines, Slink maybe has 1, Ham has 1. Like, it's just like, I get that we've introduced a lot of Bonnie's new toys, and we can't expect Bonnie to be playing with Andy's, like, classic group of toys, but also I'm like, they have, like, staying power. They've had so many years of understanding children and growing up with Andy, and now with Bonnie. It's like, I feel like we could find a way to work them better into this plot, where it is mostly just, like, Jessie and somewhat, like, of a deputized Buzz Lightyear who's helping her out, and I kind of like that Jessie has almost taken on the Woody role in that duo. But then Woody is also, he's out with the Lost Toys from where we left him out with Toy Story 4, and him and Bo Peep just kind of come and go to service the plot whenever they need, and it's very unceremonious when they show up and when they leave, and it's just like, okay, that's it? So, like I said, it feels like a side quest. The story in this movie feels like a direct-to-DVD Disney sequel. Like, it just didn't feel like enough for me. The voice cast is still great. Some of the characters are underutilized. The Taylor Swift song that they really hyped up, and they're like, oh yeah, we have a Taylor Swift song in this movie. It's in the fucking end credits. It's like, okay, cool. Like, I'm not the biggest Taylor Swift fan, but I'm like, I'm pro if you're going to make a song for a movie, put it in the fucking movie. Mm-hmm. I do like the animation, though. Like, after talking about Toy Story and how the original animation is very nostalgic, this is very polished and very clean. I do like what they do with introducing a different animation style for when you are within the imaginary realm of what this kid is, the story that the kid is playing with, of like, oh, hey, these two characters are getting married. Oh, the maid of honor poisoned someone, or someone maybe died. Oh, Like, I like the way that they animate that. I think the ending overall works for me, and having Bonnie make a friend with this other character. I feel like we're going to eventually be getting into spoilers at a certain point. I'll say, general thoughts on this, I liked it. But every other Toy Story movie, I feel like I at least love. And when it comes to ranking those other 4 films, it's like, fuck, well, this one has this one has this. Toy Story 5 pretty solidly is my least favorite of the 5. It's good because it's Pixar. And it's not anything like, there's no moment except for maybe a harken back to Jessie's past and where her name kind of leaves an imprint on Emily. That worked. That was a big moment. But that was it. And I was just like, all right, well, that kind of came and went, and now I don't know if I am really invested in this. Like, I'm waiting for, like, the emotional gut punch, which I'm not really getting. I'm waiting for any joke to land. Nothing in this movie made me chuckle at all. Like, aside, there's one good callback to the first film, which is a callback, but it's just the flying scene. There's a flight scene, which I don't want to give too much away on that, where I'm like, this works, and that felt like Toy Story, even though it is kind of weird that this toy is so technologically advanced, and I'm just like, that's a kid's toy still. That's crazy that it has the capability of doing that. I did like that presence of that subplot with all of the buzzes and that eventually tying in, but it also felt like it could have been unnecessary. Like, it felt like they came to a block in the third act of the film where they're like, how do we get the characters out of this situation? We're like, well, what if we establish this group of buzzes that can kind of come and help out eventually? And it's like, all right, so it's not the best. It's probably my least favorite of the franchise, but I still liked it. I just wanted more from it.
Yeah, to talk on that, like the multiple buzzes subplot thing, because the movie opens that way, and it's like kind of a cool opening in a way.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is different for a Toy Story movie. I appreciate that.
It felt like a soldier waking up on the invasion of Normandy. Just like you get it through Buzz's perspective of his eyes, like blurry blinking. And he's like, oh, what's going on? And he's finding all these bodies of Buzz dolls. I'm just like, all right, I like this.
Yeah, it was cool. But then, I don't know, they keep going back to the subplot, and I was going to say the same thing you said, where it feels like they needed to fly at a certain point.
Yeah.
So then it's like, well, let's just have them do that. They don't serve any other purpose. Yeah, Woody doesn't make a difference in the movie. It's sort of like if you want to say the Indian Raiders of the Lost Ark, where like you could take them out of the movie and it all would happen. And like Andrew Stanton, who directed the movie, he said when he was writing the first draft of this, he's like, how do I bring Woody back into this? Because he doesn't have a place in the story, and that's very apparent here.
Yeah, it feels lit.
But you can't have a Toy Story movie without Woody, so it's like, all right, well, you have to find some way. I just haven't liked seeing the supporting cast just all get sidelined. Not that they need huge roles, but it's so much fun, like in 2, when they're all just under the traffic cones and like doing shit like that. Like, I like seeing them do things together. I mean, there are still a lot of good things in here. I think there are a lot of sweet moments with Bonnie, just being a young girl growing up and kind of trying to make friends, and you feel bad for her because, we've all been there where you're like, damn, that sucks as a kid. We've all been through that. The animation is crazy still. I mean, there's a lot of great stuff with animals in this movie. There's a horse that is like, there's a lot of fake toy horses, but then there's like a real horse that looks really good. A pig named Jimmy Dean. That was kind of funny. I like that joke.
That's not a bad joke.
But there's even a scene with the Buzzes out in the woods, and they like go up to a deer, and you just see like all of the fur and like little splotches on there. I'm like, that is fucking insane that animation can do that. So a lot of really good animation in the movie, I thought.
Try and take that note, or like look at what we got in Toy Story 5 with the animals, and then think of like what the dog Spike in the first Toy Story that looks egregious, like looking back on, but it's just like, wow, how much this franchise
just a block of a dog.
Yeah, just blocks.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, overall, I think it's good. I think that they introduced that tech theme okay, and then there is some good stuff with Jesse, which maybe we'll talk about spoiler stuff here in a second. But yeah, it just didn't really all come together for me, and I sort of the same deal. I just kept waiting. I was like, I want something more, and I'm just not getting it here. So it's good. It's making a lot of money. I'm sure if you're wanting to see it, you're going to go see it. I mean, our review's probably not going to change that. But.
That, and I feel like you and I are the only people that I've seen or have heard of. I haven't talked to many people that have seen it that like we know, but like everyone else is really liking this, and I was just, I guess I missed the boat. Maybe I need to go see it again, and maybe I missed something, or just like I said, it just didn't really culminate to anything that I was like, wow, that was really moving. That fits Toy Story for me.
Yeah, and another thing that was missing for me was just the comedy. There's all like the Toy Story movies are all so funny. Yeah. At least the first three for me are really, really funny. Just the writing's so great. And here, like, besides like the Jimmy Dean joke, and there's just a scene where all the toys are on the side of the road and a car's coming. They're like, car! And they all just stop just as the car's coming. That was just a really funny visual to me. But beyond that, like, a lot of the jokes didn't work. Conan O'Brien he voices Smarty Pants.
I was gonna ask you. I was like, what did you think of some of these newer characters?
I don't mind the idea of like the in between tech of like Smarty Pants has like a low res screen on there, and like some of these like this GPS or like a picture like Snappy, I think the name is
the camera toy.
Like I like the idea of that. I wish they would have dug into that more. Like they kind of do, but it's like the interesting of like, well, we're not quite toys, but we're not quite like an iPad yet. So like where do we fall? I thought there could have been more to dive into there, but like Conan's humor in the movie is just like all like poop and pee humor, which like he's a toilet training toy, so like I get it. But for me, I was just like, you're better than this, Toy Story. You don't need to go down to these level of these jokes. So
I will say I liked his performance, and I liked when they find him, he is like on low battery, basically drunk mode, which isn't the first time we've seen something like that in a movie, but just seeing him just like spastic and like just fuzzy, I'm like, oh, I like this. And I like that introduction of that character. The other two of like the GPS and like the Snappy, I was like, I could do without you. Like if we just wanted to do, I can't even remember his name. What's the toilet guy name? What's
Smarty Pants?
Smarty Pants. That's what it is. If we just wanted to do Smarty Pants, that would work just fine for me. I think that Jesse really is just the focal point of the story. It is Jesse and Bonnie, which like you can say most of the Toy Story films are Woody and Andy, and it's like, okay, I get that, but I feel like we still have good moments with the other characters in the other films, whereas this just feels strictly Jesse and now Smarty Pants and the small little inner workings of Buzz that we get. And like I said, feels like a side story. Is there anything like spoiler worthy that you can even think of talking about? Like, I don't know if anything aside from the name drop of Jesse that really like hit me, and that was the best part of the movie for me.
Yeah, we can get into that. One quick thing back on like the Smarty Pants tech stuff. There's some leaps as far as like what they can do.
That too.
Of like they can
they can text
send messages, and they can like hop onto like an online lily pad chat room, and I'm like, you sending pictures like through this toilet training? So I'm like, it's a Toy Story movie. We get it, but I'm just like, I don't know. I'm not sure about this.
It kind of stretches the bounds of like what the technology was at the time of those toys being around, just because it's like, oh well. Hey, we need to figure out where you're at. Okay, the Snappy photo takes a photo of a street sign, and then the street sign photo gets sent through the GPS, and then Smarty Pants, and then there's a text message with it, and I'm like, Smarty Pants doesn't even have, like, the ability to type on, so I'm like, it's really just like a button interplay, so I'm like, how is this happening?
Yeah. But, so, anyways, that's notes that we think of. But yeah, so kind of overall disappointing for both of us. Not bad, but just to get into like little spoilers, just for some of the end beats of the movie, that Jessie moment I think is the best moment of the movie, where she goes back to the tree with the tire swing on it, where she was left when Emily was a kid, her old owner, and she finds like a box or a lunch pail that's like shows that Emily named her kid Jessie after the toy, which I thought was a really great moment. I was thinking in this movie that they may have like an old Emily show up or something and like see her. And I'm glad they didn't go that route. I think that would have been a very easy thing to do.
That, and I feel like the one big like fan fiction-y thing I've seen of people like speculating about who Emily could be now. It's like, what if Emily is Andy's mom? And I'm like, I don't need that. Like, just don't make the world smaller for the sake of like, wow, member berries, look at these characters, they know each other. Like, I don't need that. I really did like when they're at the tree and like initially when Jesse's playing with Emily, and you get a lot of these shots throughout, I think almost all of the Toy Story films. You get it in 4 especially, where the kids are just reacting, and like you can tell just based on how the scene is set up of like she's rotating in the tire swing like I love you and I'll love you forever, and just like spinning back and forth like, there you are, oh see you, and it's just, and then you get like the shot of the toy and their flat expression because they're a toy, but you're like, okay, but like you can feel what this character of a toy is feeling in the moment, and like I really like that. I think it's also a really like hard hitting moment too, and I love the discovery of basically this little treasure chest, this little time capsule that Emily made with her daughter, and finding out like, oh, she named her daughter after me. Like, that's so cool. And I was like, wow, that is the only emotional moment that really landed throughout this film for me. So, I also think the introduction of the tech in this film is really quick, and we do get one good, really good shot of like peering out throughout the town. You see all the kids who are on tech, and they're always magically in the front of a window so someone can see them from outside looking in. And I was just like, okay, fine, whatever. But Jesse goes over to like a neighbor kid's house, and all the toys are like, oh, the tech hasn't infected your house yet. And I'm just like, it feels so quick the way that they like, oh, it's here, everyone has it, it's already happening. Bonnie's late to the game, which I get that kind of works, but also it's just, here it is, it's right here, right in your face, bye, tech's bad. And it's like, okay, which like I would agree with. Like, I hate going over to my brother's house and they have like an iPad, which thankfully most of the kids have gotten off their iPad phase of like, let me sit down and play Roblox for 3 hours while the screen is 2 inches from my eyes. It's like, oh my god, fucking go outside. Feels weird. Feels like I'm part of my mom's generation. Just go outside and play. Come back when the lights turn on, the street lights. But I don't know. Like, I don't have a lot to say about this because this movie didn't give me a lot to talk about. I feel like it didn't hit me aside from that Jesse moment. The visual of the multiple buzzes, I didn't mind. Like, I kind of liked it, and I liked the way when like them all around the bonfire at the beginning, they're like star, and they're figuring out how to talk, and I'm like, this is good caveman humor from my caveman brain. This is kind of funny.
I would have loved if they did like when they used to do shorts before Pixar movies and just did like a multiple buzz short. Like 10 minutes or something.
And that's what it kind of felt like when it starts. It was like, is this the movie? Or is this just like something else? And one thing, I forgot to mention this with Toy Story 4. I love the intro, and the intro for most of these movies is relatively the same, of like the cloud, the blue sky, and then the Toy Story logo. I like in Toy Story 4, it says Disney Presents, and it has a couple of shots, and it shows Woody's face. And then later on, it brings up Toy Story 5 or Toy Story 4 in that movie, and that's like, oh, that's a good way of setting up that this is a Woody story. This, I feel like they needed to put Jesse, Disney Presents, and then there's Jesse, because it didn't feel like that much of a Toy Story movie. It just felt like a Jesse movie, and the iPad thing was just a subplot almost. So I don't know. It's fine. It's fine as a Toy Story movie. It's good compared to anything else, but as a Toy Story movie, it's just like, yeah, it exists. I like most of the new voice cast. I really like Greta Lee. I think she's great. Love her, and I like her addition to this. I know that they'll probably do a Toy Story 6, so I'm interested to see what do you take on next as like the story. Is it just going to be Bonnie handing her toys off in the similar way that Andy did in Toy Story 3? It's like, are we just going to repeat subplots or plot points? It's like, I don't know if I need that. But I am somewhat interested to see where they further work tech into toy play and like how kids can interact with both. Or maybe Bonnie just becomes like a 40-year-old collector of toys that she puts up on a shelf, and she's like, yeah, that's my Jessie doll, and like, what are we going to get?
Keeps in her bedroom drawer.
Yeah. It's like, what are we going to get? So I don't know. The movie's making all the money, and I'm sure a lot of people are really going to like it. It was okay in terms of a Toy Story film, though. Yeah,
the Jessie stuff is strong in that moment, just finding her purpose as a toy and just feeling like, you know, she had an impact. And I like how the movie ends with Blaze coming over and her and Bonnie playing. I'm like, this is what I like of doing the wedding and all that stuff. That's a cute moment. yeah, it's just kind of a little bit of a disappointing one, and I'm going to make a comparison that the movies I'm going to compare aren't in the same realm quality-wise, but just the franchises they're in.
Interesting.
With Scream from earlier this year, with coming into both Scream 7 and Toy Story 5, both franchises have been so consistent, so good, and then we get new additions this year, and they just don't quite live up to the rest of them. Now, Toy Story 5 is a lot better than Scream 7, obviously, but just that same idea of, like, I think it's run its course. I think we've kind of done all we can do here.
The franchise that I thought you were going to bring up was Indiana Jones.
Oh,
Because, like,
also
you have
that.
that original trilogy,
Yeah,
and then
also
you get
that.
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which some people have now kind of had some nostalgia with. Like, I kind of like that movie. It came out when I was, like, 7 or 8, so
I
it's,
like that
like,
movie.
fucking kind of cool. And then Dial of Destiny, which it's like, all right, well, we didn't need the 4th one, but now we're getting a 5th one, and now people don't. Or at least,
Yeah.
I know you don't like the 5th one. I like the 5th one. But it's not as good as really any of the other, the first 3.
Mm-hmm.
It's a toss-up between the 4th one and what you think, but that's how this film kind
Yeah,
of
that's
hits
a good
me.
comparison,
This
too.
feels like Dial of Destiny.
Yeah.
Which, like, yeah, it's Indiana Jones, but, like, is it the best Indiana Jones? No. This is Toy Story, but this isn't the best Toy Story. So
Did you, side note on the lily pad thing, did you ever have a leapfrog?
that's what I was thinking the entire time. I
Yeah.
didn't have that, but I was like, this is the adjacent thing in the real world.
Yeah,
like
I remember
the
getting a
leapfrog.
leapfrog when I was a kid, and I was like, this is pretty sweet.
I remember the commercials for it, and they were just fucking everywhere.
Yeah, played all kinds of games and shit. Then I got like an iPod Touch or something. I was like, oh,
I-
Jetpack Joyride,
Was,
nice.
was that like your first iPod or phone?
I'd had
anything?
like an iPod like Nano or some like old school iPod
Yeah.
before, but then like the Touch was my first like touch screen. I'd had a flip phone before.
I had a. What's like the very slim like rectangle iPod? Is that the Nano?
I think so, yeah.
What's like and then is it Shuffle, like the little square one?
Yep.
I remember. Thankfully I didn't have the Shuffle. I never wanted the Shuffle. I got the iPod Nano, and I remember that was right around when I started watching South Park as a kid. So I would download full episodes of South Park off of iTunes for like $8, and I'd watch on my tiny little like 1x3 screen, maybe 1x2.5 inch screen. Episodes of South Park, so I was like, yeah, this is great. I can watch this on the bus on my way to school. Fantastic.
Oh, it was great. I miss like early days of like the slider phone, my keyboard coming out of there.
I want to
Oh.
go back to that.
I do too, man.
I'm
That's
tired.
the best.
I don't need Snapchat anymore. I don't need Instagram. All I need is just like, can I text someone? Sweet. That's all I need.
Yeah, that's great.
But-
Yeah, so kind of wrapping up our thoughts here, we'll give our rankings of the Toy Story movies. I feel like it's not super controversial, not like our Star Wars one.
Who knows? Someone's really gonna
Yeah.
be like 5 is
Maybe.
the best thing ever.
Maybe, I'm sure there's people out there.
Yeah.
But for me, my ranking is 3, 2, 1, 4, 5, and then I'll throw Lightyear in there. That's at the bottom, but I still do like that movie. I think we both like it more than most
yeah.
people. It's just it doesn't have like quite the emotional moments of the other main Toy Story movies,
yeah.
but I think still pretty cool though.
Yeah. I would say number 1 is far and away number 2, Toy Story 2. Then I'd say 4. It's a toss up between 1 or 3. I'll say 2, 4, 1, 3, 5. 3 I really like. Like I love 1 through 4. I love those movies. So it's really just like the way it kind of falls in line. And then 5 being my least favorite. Still like a good one, but like of the 5, it's easily gonna be the one I go back to rewatch the least of these 5 films. And then Lightyear, I would say, just because it's not like mainstream Toy Story, like it's Toy Story adjacent, it automatically kind of gets that 6th slot. Even though I do really enjoy the movie, and I think the animation in Lightyear is fantastic. I really enjoyed that movie, and I was kind of surprised at how little recognition that movie gets, and how kind of blah people kind of reacted to it. They're just like, that's fine. I'm like, I liked it. They're
People
like,
are still confused about like how the movie works
Yeah.
or like what it is.
the movie opens and explains to you, like, hey, Andy got a fucking Buzz Lightyear toy. This is the movie he saw. Boom, here you go. Fucking watch it. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my god, like, a kid could figure this out, guys. So yeah, that wraps up our Toy Story talk. Definitely go check it out. I think it is worth a watch, especially if you're a fan of the first 4, and just kind of see how you feel about it.